What's going on, guys? Michael Lee here, your realtor of the Palm Beaches, and today I have another property tour for you guys. Today we are going to be in Grandview Heights. Now, just a little bit of history about Grandview Heights. It is one of the first historic neighborhoods to be built here in West Palm Beach, and most of the homes here are bungalow style homes, and they sit directly across the street from one of our most popular attractions, City Place, as well as the Palm Beach Conventional Center as well. So we're going to check out this 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home that spans about a little bit over 1,800 square feet, has 2 properties on it, and it's on the market currently for just over $770,000, and it was built in 1923. So let's go. So before we enter the house, I want to show you guys the entrance to the second unit before we start the tour. Now, if you have this as an investment property after doing a little bit of work, here's how your second unit will have their entrance to the home. There are 2 doors, one on the right and one on the left, and that is where you enter the second unit. Right, guys, so we're starting off here in the entrance. This looks like this was an enclosed porch, as you can see from the exterior of the home. So this is just adding to the additional square footage. I'll zoom out for you a little bit more so you guys can check it out. Original hardwood floors. A lot of times in these historic homes, you'll have the original hardwood floors that you can't really find anywhere else. So the hardwood floors are still original to this property. So that's something great. And I was just sand them down and refinish them if you like, but I think they've done a great job. Now, double French door entry. So it's always nice. You kind of have a separate space here, or you can kind of do it as you wish. Now, this does need a little bit of love if you want to update it to modern times, but with these historic homes, you can kind of have it as you wish. So you can keep it all original if you like. If you want that still historic aesthetic, or you can update some of the fixtures and windows in here to modern times as well. So you have the living room, dining room combination. I'm kind of standing in what would be considered the living room here, as well as they have a dining room here. So it's a living room dining combo. Off to my right would be considered one of the first of 2 bedrooms. In the main property, there are 2 separate structures on the property, and we'll check out the second structure a little bit later. Now, you can see remnants of the previous homeowner. They did have a dresser here, so you kind of get an idea of what you can kind of look for in a house like this. So the layout isn't exactly formal, so you kind of have to get a little creative in here. Door leading to the exterior front, as well as to the front patio as well that we just came from. So you probably have to get a little bit creative, maybe cut that door off or enclose something to kind of make this a little bit more private if you need to. Or you can leave it open as a home office if it's just you or you and your spouse. First of 2 bathrooms here. Like I said, if you need some character and a little bit of love in here, you can kind of upgrade it to modern times, but they did do a small amount of upgrades with the countertop here and the vanity. But you can kind of bring it up to date if you need to. Kitchen, all the way in the back, stainless steel appliances. Looks like a gas stove, which means there is gas in here. So it's always nice to have a gas stove and gas appliances if you can. That'll help with the cooking as well. So window overlooking the backyard, as well as access to the backyard and the second property on this lot. Now, this is the second of 2 bedrooms here in this main house. Similar to the layout in the front, but not as large. So you do have the main space here. And an additional space with some smaller closets as well. Now, one thing that you have to keep in mind with these historic homes that were built in the 1920s, they aren't as large with the closet space like you see in some of the modern homes that were built. So you do have to keep that in mind when you are looking to get into this space. So I'll put this down and show you guys the backyard as well. Doing the tour, one thing to keep in mind when you're viewing these 1920s homes and bungalow style homes, they are going to be a little bit on the smaller side when it comes to the rooms and kitchens. Because back in the 1920s, there wasn't a need for large kitchens and large bedrooms. Number one, the people weren't very large back then. Also, they didn't need a massive amount of space or storage during that particular time period. So when you see bungalow style homes like this one, you'll often purchase in this particular neighborhood for the charm of the neighborhood, the aesthetics of the neighborhood, and the historical nature of the neighborhood. And then you can make it small and cozy by upgrading some of the interior features of the home. So I think this is one of those homes that you could do that with, given the fact that we see some of the features in here aren't as modern as you would see in a new construction home, but that gives you an opportunity to put your own personal style in the home and upgrade it to something of your liking, as well as being in an amazing historic neighborhood. So let's continue the tour. So this is right off the kitchen. You have laundry on the inside, so you don't really have to worry about doing laundry on the exterior, and it's right off the kitchen as well as into the main home. Door leads out to the exterior to a second home, which we'll check out in a second if we are able to have access to it, and I will check that out now. So I'll take you guys on the outside and we'll walk around and check out the second property. So let's go. All right, so I was able to locate access to the second property. Now, this is a very unique layout in here, so you can't really expect an open layout. You may have to do some renovations to this thing to kind of change the layout when we get to that particular side of the home. But we're entering in the kitchen, as you can see, terrazzo style flooring, small gas stove. Like I said, you can kind of update this to create an aesthetic of your vibe or your like, but this would be a great maybe rental property or an investment property for someone of that nature. But if you were to live in this property, I think as your own personal home, you would definitely have to change the layout of it for sure. And let's go see why that would be. So here's your other second entrance. If you don't want to have access to both homes and you just have maybe another tenant that lives in this back room, or you would just like to have a maybe Airbnb or investment property, or you have it as a duplex, this will be the second owner's or second renter's entrance here. Now the living room has to have a little bit of updating or a little bit of creative, I guess, design, because you do have a galleyway living room, but it isn't very large for any particular large size furniture. So I would have to say you have to get a little bit more creative if you were to change the interior layout, or you just don't have to have a lot of furniture. Bedroom number one here, straight through. This is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Like I said, the bedrooms are relatively small given the nature of the home and the age of the home, but still 2-bedroom, 1-bath with the original hardwood floors that we saw in the first part of the home. So we loop around and we'll check out second bedroom, sorry about that. Now this one is a little bit larger, but like I said, the layout is a little different. Not even sure if you would be able to get maybe a good home office, I would say, unless you change the layout. All right. All right, guys, so we're going to conclude the tour here, but if you guys are interested in this particular property, I'll leave a link down in the description below where you guys can contact me directly if you guys are interested in learning more information about the neighborhood of Grandview Heights or this property in particular. I think this property would be a great benefit for an investor or someone that's looking to have some type of rental income or investment portfolio building with the 2 separate structures on the property, as long as you update it to some of the modern aesthetics, I think this property would be a great opportunity for someone that would be interested in having an investment portfolio. As well as someone who wants a maybe home office. It has 2 separate structures. This particular unit that I'm standing in would be great for that. You can have maybe 2 separate home offices if you and your spouse work from home, and then you have the main structure where you guys will live and also able to go back and forth without even going outside. So without that, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.